Renault Trucks SAS is a French company of the automotive industry that manufactures, markets, imports, and sells trucks and military vehicles in more than 130 countries around the world. Originally part of Renault, Renault Trucks SAS has been owned by the Swedish EV Volvo Group since 2001, which is one of the world leading manufacturers of trucks, buses, construction equipment, marine and industrial engines. Renault Trucks SAS is the second largest company of the EV Volvo Group and works around 6 leading brands which are Volvo Trucks, Mack Trucks, Escher, Dongfeng and UD Trucks. Marius Bert and Paul Bert are the founders of Renault Trucks. The visited assembly plant was inaugurated on September 8, 2004 and has a turnover of 32 billion euros. The factory visited is a grey factory operating with 2 teams of 8 hours. It produces 4 types of engines: 5 liter, 8 liter, 9 liter and 11 liter.
Renault Trucks, which headquarters are located in Supervised, employs more than 9,500 employees and has 1,440 points of sale around the world. In 2017, the firm sold almost 50,000 trucks, distributed mostly in France and other European countries. In France, Renault Trucks has 4 production sites: Saint-Priest, Bourg-en-Bresse, Blainville-sur-Orne, and Lyon-Vinicieux. For this class, we had this opportunity to visit the Lyon-Vinicieux location, which specializes in engines, assembly, stamping, and replacement parts, and we were shown around the engine assembly lines. For its new range, Renault Trucks relies on a network of 50 regional suppliers, 100 national suppliers, and 300 to 400 foreign suppliers. The choice of suppliers is subject to strict procedures. Some selected for the engineering and production phases, others paid for studies but have not selected for further study.
Renault Trucks is committed to sustainable development and intends to limit the impact of road transport. Facing the issues of climate change, Renault Trucks is continuing its effort to develop concrete solutions to reduce CO2 emissions with fully electric vehicles and natural gas vehicles. Renault Trucks has implemented an environmental policy with clear commitments, which also applies to its dealers, suppliers, and partners. Also, the company's policy is consolidated at a higher level as the group establishes each year the Volvo Group Annual and Sustainability Report.
Now it's time to see how does the supply chain in this Renault Trucks plant works. To be more precise, concerning European and international commands, the customer order is taken charge locally by the sales and marketing department. Then, it sends to the manufacturing global department, which will put it in the digital system of Renault Trucks. This department organizes the production and transfer it to the assembly plant called for the European market mother plant. Here we have 2 options. If the order is for the European market, the truck is sent directly to the distributor. If it's for another market, the spare parts of the future truck goes to the international platform called Caddy Packaging, which will pack those and put it in container. Then, those containers are carried to the assembly international plants called Caddy plant that Renault Trucks consider as their international partners. For its international logistic management, Renault Trucks use the completely knocked down concept. The goal of this concept is to assemble all spare parts aboard and sell it on the spot.
What we saw in Renault Trucks plant was globally divided into 4 parts. First, the assembly line, which is divided itself into 2 parts. The first part of the line is the automate line. 30 robots assemble the parts of the engines, such as pistons, valves, or combustion chamber. On this part of the chain, there are no differentiation regarding the function of the engine. It can be used for trucks, military vehicles, boats, etc. The distinction is made later on. The second part of the production line is called the final line. The parts are manually assembled. Workers add different components, such as covers, and they customize the engine depending on its power and its function. For this part of the assembly line, Renault Trucks uses a system of full kitting. This means that kits of components are prepared and stored in compartments. Each time a compartment needs to be used, a light turns on to show the worker where it is. Continuous counting system allows to track removal from the inventory continuously. After that, the engines are tested twice. The first test is the cold one, in which they inject liquid in the engine to check the sealing. After that, the motors are sent to the test area where they are tested in a closed cabin. The motors will be mounted in heat for 10 minutes and then for 15 minutes in real condition, like if the motor was in a full truck. If there is no defect, they are cleaned and drained with oil. Finally, the motors are painted according to the constructor color. For instance, gray for Renault Trucks, green for Volvo, or black for UD.
Now we're going to study in depth the particular topic, which is changes in assembly line and the implementation of lean management within this plant. Renault Trucks belongs to Volvo Group since 2011. Since it belongs to the group, they decide to implement lean management and particularly the Kaizen method of management. This is called the Volvo production system, inspired by Toyotism. Based on staff suggestions, this system improves productivity. The final goal is zero defect. Indeed, in this plant, defect rate is less than 0.5%. Consequently, Saint-Priest's Renault Trucks plant has totally remodeled its assembly line from a S-shaped to U-shaped one. Actually, there are 2 lines in this plant. The first one is automated and the other is manual. The first one, called Basic Lane, has been installed by Como, a Fiat subsidiary, and aims to put in common several components essential to the engine block in all types of model in order to reduce costs. This has been encompassed of automatization of the assembly line with QR codes and RFID tags which are on every item. Moreover, there are robots at each step of the assembly, aiming to detect technical defaults and quality problems. A green light means that everything is okay, orange means that it's waiting for the next step, but when it turns into red, the robot stops to report a problem on the engine on a special screen that shows information about the item in question, reference, quantities, and parts to be assembled. The second line is the final line, where the finished and customizations for each brand are made, so this one is completely manual. black painting for Audi, green one for Volvo, red for Mark. Those two lines have been completely remodeled into U-shaped one instead of the S-shaped, which has generated lots of benefits and more than previously with the S-shaped. The S-shaped assembly line takes a lot of place, and when there's a problem, the entire line needed to be stopped. Whereas that for the U assembly line, you can have multitasks, a gain of productivity thanks to slides, chutes, roller conveyors, and an improvement of quality. This remodeling into a U-shaped assembly line implied more space in which the plant decided to put inventory, called fishbone stocking, with the pick-to-light automatization and a screen showing references with number of quantity in a continuous way. To conclude, Renault Trucks is a repetitive and product-oriented layout strategy, meaning that they are organized around few similar products that require high equipment utilization and high capital investment. The challenge of Renault Trucks is to maximize the space of the warehouse while minimizing the material handling costs through the entire production process, from incoming transport to storage and outgoing transport. However, an effective layout strategy depends on each firm. Whether it's retail, offices, or manufacturer, there's no ideal solutions, but they should always be well considered in order to meet the firm's competitive requirements. This change in the assembly line is part of the implementation of lean management in this Renault Trucks plant. Indeed, in 2014, this Renault Trucks plant has been labelized for its world-class manufacturing and obtained 50 out of 80. Renault Trucks was among the first 3 assembly line plants applying the best lean management principles. This world-class manufacturing score is based on safety, cost deployment, focused improvement, autonomous activities, professional maintenance, quality control, logistics and customer service, early product management and early equipment management, people development and environment. These totally correspond to the Volvo's principles, which are 5 principles that guide the company to reach its vision of continuously improved quality, delivery, and productivity. All 5 are necessary together in order to reach their vision. So these 5 are the customer service, the continuous improvement with built-in quality and just-in-time, the teamwork, the process stability, and the Volvo way. This implementation of lean manufacturing, coupled with the changes in the assembly line, had many results. First, the hours of efforts of direct and indirect employees have been divided by 2. The defect rate on finished products has been reduced. Renault Trucks plant gained more space and had a better stock rotation. It has improved ergonomics of workstations. It also had a quality improvement with waste reduction and retouching. It also has an inventory reduction with materials, work in progress, and finished products. It reduced turnaround times and generated a better gross margin. And finally, it has improved employee participation, involvement, and morale.
just a notch in my belt, a story to tell.